shout out Near Falls with D Hall's podcast.
Welcome to Near Falls with D Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's Near Falls with D Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. Talking Near Falls with D Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
And what is going on, guys? It's your boy D Hall, and welcome back into another edition of Near Falls in the WPIAL. Just me for right now. Kaz has a little bit of a power issue over at his house. Of course, we are dealing with Snowmageddon. I hope you guys are staying warm, staying safe out there. I guess the big question of the day is, do you shovel it multiple times, or do you just wait till it's all done and you shovel it at the end? That was the big thing that I was thinking about while I was shoveling it this morning. Normally I am just a shovel it at the end when it's all done type of guy, but today, just with the volume of snow, I had to get out there and get after it a little bit this morning. Hence why I am a little late getting on the show. I know I wanted to do 11. I underestimated rather how much snow was out there and how long it was going to take me at least to get through. So here we are, a little after 11. Great show planned for you guys. I got Ron Frank coming on to talk about the evolution, the beginning of the Allegheny County tournament. Of course, he is a legend in the WPIAL. Really excited to give you guys that interview. I sat down with him over at Fox Chapel last week. Of course, I didn't have a show last week. Some of you guys know out there, I had a little bit of a family deal. One of my best buddies passed away, so gave myself a break last week. I had a couple matches I hope you guys were able to catch. The Connellsville Kiski match I had on there, that was a lot of fun. And I can let you guys know that I'm going to be broadcasting a big women's duel next week over at W&J. So that's all for the show notes. We're going to get right into it. Paul Schofield is going to come on later. He's going to give his picks. Of course, he's been covering the WPIAL for, 40 years or so, maybe more. I love talking to him, picking his brain. And of course, I love whenever he comes in and gives us his picks. So we're going to pull up the brackets in a little bit and talk about that. But yeah, we just have so much stuff to get into. The brackets are seeded, just a lot. So without further ado, let's bring up Ron Frank's interview so you guys can hear him talk about the evolution of the Allegheny County tournament. One of my favorite tournaments on the WPIAL schedule, of course. Kind of a tournament that I really found my mojo on. I took third my senior years, which, not much to some, but it's a lot to some. So anyways, let's check out Mr. Frank.
All right. We are here at the Allegheny County Wrestling Tournament with one of the founders, Mr. Ron Frank. How are you, sir?
Wonderful.
Thank you for taking some time out. I know you're busy. I walked in, see you locked in on a couple matches over there. Never slowing down on the coaching, huh, Coach?
No. It's a labor of love. We'll call it that. We've got a good staff, and I just try to do my part to keep contributing. We have the boys team, we have the girls team, we have junior high, we have two different elementary programs. So everybody in the program pitches in and try to make it all successful. Most of the people that are in administrative kind of coaching in our program have played multiple sports, but they think wrestling is one of the best for helping to develop young men and women, and so it's kind of a labor of love. And this county tournament, the idea came when I was head coach. Bob Sire came to me he was my assistant, and I say that kind of factually, but really we just coached together all the time at Fox Chapel. And he said, let's have a county tournament like Westmoreland. And I said, there's no way. Westmoreland has a little bit over a dozen schools, and we have 38 or 39, and so we can't do it. And then in the year 2000, Fox Chapel decided to build a second gym. And at that point then, I wrote, beginning in 2001, I wrote all the schools in Allegheny County and said, we're going to have a championship. We're going to put it together. So you keep a spot in your schedule.
I love that.
And so
the
that
first
was
one was what? I was trying to do a little research. 02, right?
Yes.
So we're
And so
wrestling
in 02,
24. This is the 24th?
In 02, we put everything together, and we ran 8 matches for 2 straight days just about. The delightful thing for me as a wrestling fan is that everybody in Allegheny County can send 18 kids. Every team in Allegheny County can send 18 kids. 13 starters, designated starters, and then 5 additional ones. You can designate who your 13 point scorers are. You could have 2 point scorers in the same weight class, but we want everybody to participate. And so we have had, historically, we've had teams with female participants. We've had teams with one participant. The city schools come, the suburban schools come, private, public, large, small. We try to get everybody interested in wrestling and to participate. So it's a labor of love, and what we do is we try to get the whole community in Fox Chapel involved. If you take a picture of the trophies out there, between the trophies and the award shirts, we have about $7,200 in awards that we give to kids. So tomorrow night, we'll have the Parade of Champions, and then we'll have the finals, and we will say all county, the top 8 people, with the county champions, obviously, and then we also have 4 team plaques. Pittsburgh Trophy helps us and put together some really excellent awards, but that's paid. Those trophies and award shirts are paid for by sponsors from the community, and some of them. Before we had the county tournament, we had the holiday tournament.
Yep.
And we invited teams from all over Western Pennsylvania, and that proved to us, we had that for probably 12 or 15 years. And because of the success there, we knew that if we had 2 gyms in the space, that we could make it a success with 38 possible teams. So we have some businesses that have sponsored us since we started the holiday tournament. And some of them are Fox Chapel past wrestlers who are business people. Some of them are businesses that never wrestled, but they see the dynamics of the sport. Some of them are parents that own businesses. So everybody believes in the sport of wrestling and how much it contributes to the educational mission of Fox Chapel schools. Now we always hold it in the 3rd week in January because Fox Chapel is on a semester basis.
Gotcha.
And so today, Friday, is the semester break at Fox Chapel. It's an in-service day for teachers to take care of their grades. So we have the ability to use the gym both days, Friday and Saturday. So we always hold it this weekend. We try to get the best officials in Western Pennsylvania, not just from Allegheny County, but from Western Pennsylvania. We try to get the help from wherever we can. We have parents, we have teachers, we have some elementary wrestlers who will keep score, who have done probably more tournaments than some of the high school kids as far as wrestling, so they know some background. Our graphics department does a lot of work printing the program for us. We have wrestlers who are in the graphics department as students, and they will help print some different things for us. So the whole community, we try to pitch together and pitch in together and make this a success. Kind of a funny story. I mean, the excellence of Western Pennsylvania wrestling. Obviously, we've had some wrestlers here who became national champions, who became silver medalists in the World Games, and so we have that success. But we also have some wrestlers who. A short story. I went to Mercyhurst to watch one of our kids wrestle a couple years ago. One of my sons wrestled a couple years ago. Well, I guess it's almost 20 years now. But I went up and I had a kid come up and say, "You don't know me, but I wrestled for Keystone Oaks in the county tournament, and I placed, and I won that shirt." And he said, "I broke my leg the next day." And so that was the highlight of my wrestling career. And so I just wanted to tell you what it means to me to be able to say that I'm all county. And those kind of things mean a lot to us. Now, we also have some awards, the Outstanding Wrestler that the coaches vote on, most pins in the least amount of time in a winner's bracket. We have the Ron Garrison Sportsmanship Award, which the coaches vote on for somebody that demonstrates sportsmanship throughout the tournament. So we try to put everything together to make it a great experience for the kids. Now, our refreshment stand is dominated by parents and our fans and our booster members who contribute food and Gatorade and pop and water, etc., and then stand in the back and help cook. Today, we had our girls team, which is about 15 or 16 members, and they contributed by working at selling T-shirts, working at the front ticket counter, working in the snack bar. So everybody pitches in to try to make this a success.
I love that. And, you know, looking at the book there on my way in, some four-time champs, 6 of them to be exact. Just talk about the level of wrestling that you see year in and year out here, Coach. I mean, I wrestled in this tournament when I was in high school, as you just talked about. That was a big deal for me to get that shirt. And man, I was like, whenever the Catholic schools were involved, I mean, this tournament was gnarly, and it still is. Just talk about the level of competition.
Well, when you talk about some of the kids from Allegheny County who have been successful in the NCAA championships, the brothers Stout from Mount Lebanon, the list is just tremendous.
The letters,
as far as
I mean,
yeah, the letters,
the Walcos.
Zanetta.
The Zanettas, oh my goodness.
James Fleming, who wrestled in this tournament.
Yes, I think he's running around here somewhere.
Was a 3-time champ and is now coaching here.
Yep.
The Cars, Hilligus, 2-time state champ, Max Stott, Maddox Shaw.
Yep.
The list of who has participated and been successful. We had a young lady who wrestled for us, obviously, before there was girls wrestling in the state of Pennsylvania, who was a starter for us for multiple years at 106 back then, and she placed 7th in the county. To my knowledge, she's the only female that ever participated. And you know, those kind of small little footnotes are highlights for everybody that I can tell old war stories and say, you know what, wait a second, you know, she participated, etc. And so Jordana was a regular wrestler, and then she got hot in the tournament and she finished 7th, you know, so
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's good. So a lot of very good wrestlers that are now competing in college have been here and done well.
Yeah. Talk to me about your son. He's out there coaching, running the squad now. You know, he did it. Obviously, you guys had a fantastic run a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I just love talking to him. He's like one of my favorite dudes to talk to. Look at that guy running around over there, big old Fox Apple shirt. Just talk about your son taking over.
There's been a nice continuity of leadership. We had a booster come in today, Jim Lombardi, who wrestled for us in 1968. One of the only people around that's been here longer than me, but he still comes and contributes food and is one of our boosters, one of our weight class sponsors. And he said, he asked the girls at the ticket counter, said, how many coaches have been at Fox Chapel since 1966? 63.
You guys are pulling the Steelers,
63.
huh?
And he said the same number as the Steelers. He said
That's
Greg
awesome.
Caldwell, Ron Frank, Michael Frank.
I love that.
And so there is a continuity. Now, so Michael is one of the best teachers of wrestling in I think in Western Pennsylvania. So the transition when I went to be a school board member was easy. And I have to be honest, I wrestled 1 year in high school. I was hired to be a teacher and a football coach, and I liked wrestling, and I just kept learning and learning. And when we got Bob Sire on staff, and he was a science teacher, obviously his background from both of his parents are in the USA Wrestling Hall of Fame, we just continued to grow. Michael was a section champ for us, and then wrestled in the NCAA champ, was a region champion in college, wrestled in the NCAA championships. And when he came back and became Bob Sire and my assistant, the transition was easy when we went to Michael as head coach and me as a volunteer assistant. And we've got a staff now that is Eddie Farrell, who was a county champ here, wrestled for Gannon. Trevor Hartless, who wrestled for Edinburgh. And in our elementary program, we've got 6 or 7 people who help here now, keeping score, but they all wrestled in high school for us or wrestled in college and have kids in the program now. So that continuity of leadership and demonstrating how to be a good wrestler, not just in the wrestling moves, but in sportsmanship and leadership, etc. is fantastic. I think Michael's one of the best teachers of wrestling there is in Western Pennsylvania, and
I love that.
and just a good figurehead for the sport. And a lot of his college teammates are now coaching here. Mark Alamang, another great leader in wrestling, was a teammate of Michael's at Duquesne. So we've got a lot of passing the torch, going right through it. When I said James Fleming,
Yep.
those kind of things.
Yep.
So we've got a lot of people who participate in wrestling and are still at it. And that's the irony when we talk about wrestling with people who don't know wrestling, and I say, well, the best wrestling in America is in the state of Pennsylvania. And
Tell
the
'em,
best
Coach.
wrestling,
Let's go.
The best wrestling in the state of Pennsylvania is the WPIAL.
Yes, sir.
And several years, a decade ago, when we had 3 national champions out of 10 from the WPIAL, people say, what? I said, yeah, there were 7 from the rest of America and 3 from the WPIAL. And so they shake their head, but that is the case. If you want to be a really good, successful coach in wrestling and beat everybody, you go to another place. You don't go to the WPIAL because it's dog eat dog every world. Even though we do get along with each other, it's a battle. I mean, we're going to wrestle Kiski next week, and obviously their lineup is stacked. But when you see the quality of people in the sport, you see the quality of expertise in the sport of wrestling, it is just fantastic. And it goes to we always hire the best referees we can.
Yeah.
And there are multiple people refereeing today who are on the the Dapper We'll have to rephrase that again. The Wrestling Classic Committee.
Yeah.
And so you see that expertise demonstrated, and they'll watch Powerade, and then they'll watch here, and they'll say, okay, when it's time to pick, a candidate to represent the WPIAL against Oklahoma or the state of Pennsylvania, against USA or the girls' team, those kind of things. They understand the expertise that's out here. So it's great. It's great.
Last couple things I have for you. Just talk about every time I wrestled in, and every time like my brother wrestled in after me, and I come and cover it as a podcaster. It just feels like such a prestigious event. You do your finals up so big. Just talk about why is that? Was that always part of the process for you guys, or when did that come from?
We want every kid that walks out of here to say, that is the best event I've ever been in. Timothy Frank, who was a WPIAL champion and who was a county champion here, and is a very good announcer, has announced for the Classic for multiple years. He will make sure that we do a great parade of champions, etc. When we hire Frank Volcano to run the flow,
The best.
obviously we're getting the best, and so we want to try to make sure that everything we do is top notch. We think the facility is good. We think the people working it are good. We want everybody to walk away thinking that is the best tournament that we can come to.
Love that. Coach, do you have anything for me before I leave you go?
I think I ran on pretty much. I would like to thank the sponsors. I would like to thank the teachers who took their time to come. The dozens and dozens and dozens of parents and alumni and the female wrestler members and the junior high wrestling team members who helped put it on. And I hope everybody appreciates how much work it is. The program is 68 pages. And we try to make sure that people take it home and say, you know what?
Big old thick boy there, huh?
You know what? I was looking in here. Look at that, 2002. Michael Gozliski was the first Allegheny champion, and I just saw his father coaching last week at a junior high tournament. I
love that.
So we want everybody to know that it is the best tournament they can find.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you so much for taking some time out, and congratulations on another great event.
Thank you. Hope I didn't bore everybody too much.
No way, Coach. Thank you.
All right. And again, one of the godfathers of the WPIAL wrestling committee, crew, whatever you want to call it, Ron Frank, helped start and put together the Allegheny County tournament, as you guys see there. Again, what was it, last week or so? Just an awesome event. Between that and the Westmoreland County tournament, two tournaments that both sides do a great job putting together. And, it's one of those events that you kind of circle as one of the checkpoints during the season. So we're going to dive into a little bit of individual before we dive into the team stuff. I have Mr. Paul Schofield due to come on here shortly. But let's go ahead and check out that Allegheny County tournament that we just talked to Mr. Frank about. But before we do that, let's run a couple of our sponsors.
Hi, my name is Antonio Reyino, owner of Reversal Health and Wellness. I've been in healthcare for nearly 20 years and seen the effects obesity can have on someone's health. That's what inspired me to offer GLP-1 therapy at Reversal Health and Wellness. New evidence-based research has shown remarkable benefits of the therapy, including reversing fatty liver disease, improvement of sleep apnea, and slowing the progression of heart and kidney disease. And unlike national online companies, you won't get lost in the mix and you're not just another number. You'll receive a personalized treatment plan tailored to your goals and your health. And if you're not near Newcastle, Pennsylvania, no worries. Telemedicine options are always available. Also at Reversal Health and Wellness, we offer IV hydration therapy. We offer 7 different IV cocktails infused with nutrients designed to restore balance, boost energy, and support optimal health. Rather, if you're an athlete training for a competition, or a fatigued mother or two, or recovering from an illness, IV hydration will benefit you. We're located in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, on Wilmington Road at the Maison Building. You can either book online or call the office. Thank you.
All right. Let's see if I can figure this out, guys. There we go. So, again, we're going to dive into the Allegheny County tournament. Thanks, as always, to Antonio Reyino with Reversal Health and Wellness. We appreciate your love and support. Okay, so let's dive into that Allegheny County tournament, as we're going to be hanging out for a little bit here, guys. And again, Kaz is not here. He may or may not come on at some point. His power's out. He lives out there in the boonies. So if at some point his power comes on and he's dealing with some shit over there, so if that comes on, he's going to pop back on. I'm getting some text from him. So we'll see how that goes. But let's share this screen here, and we're going to do this one, I believe. Yes. So we see the Allegheny County tournament here. Let's just start off at 107 pounds. Bryce Thomas goes out and gets the championship here. Bryce Thomas, we're going to talk about him a couple more times tonight. Impressive stuff here to go out and win the championship. Signing from North Allegheny beats Wozlowski from Elizabeth Forward. That was a really good match. I was able to sneak over for the semis. Took NJ and Lily with me, actually. I was like, I forget what I had going on. But I was like, let's go. We're piling in the car. So we rode over there, and we stopped in for the semis. I love that round. It's one of my favorite rounds. The semifinals at the county tournament is always really good. You always see some like interesting matchups that are good data points for later on in the year. So this is an exact example here. Zach Rehak, been wrestling fantastic, guys. He just barely lost to McGarity 1-0 at the Midwinter Mayhem. Then he goes out and wins this championship. You look at the finals here, Zach Rehak's run to the finals. Tech Fall. 5-0 decision over Bennett Ferrara. And you guys know I love me some Bennett Ferrara. That is a nice win there. And then he beats a young stud freshman in Shamil Islamov from Baldwin in the finals. Shamil Islamov, the unseeded freshman, coming in and just knocking off a bunch of dudes. A guy, of course, that is Ramil Islamov's younger brother. Kid's tough, man. There's no other way to say it. That win over Javion Chambers, that's an impressive win, 7-5 in the semifinals there. Anthony Jones, you guys know I like Anthony Jones from Shaler. That's a nice win there as well. So, pretty interesting weight there at 114 pounds. 4 or 5 guys there, even 6. You go all the way down to Anthony Jones. Hayden Seymour has had a good last week or so. Moon, of course, had a good last Wednesday, as we're going to talk about them in the team tournament. So, yeah, it's a good weight class there at 114 pounds. Moving on up, 121 pounds. Preston Bubish. I'll tell you what, guys. When going into that final, if you guys have listened to me for any period of time, I'm a Bruce Anderchek guy. I love me some Bruce Anderchek. He's long. He's able to get to legs really easy. But, man, this is like – I feel like this is the second or third rendition of these two wrestling. I want to say it was last year I heard about Bubish or Bubash. I'm sorry out there if I say your name wrong. But I heard about him last year when Mr. Moses from Burrell texted me about these two wrestling in like an early round matchup at the Chartiers Houston tournament. So Preston goes out and gets the dub here over a very game Bruce Anderchek. And you look at the rest of the placers here: Cordova from TJ, Schaumburg from NA, Kirchner from Moon. Just pretty good weight class here, but again, headlined heavily by those two top guys in the finals there. All right, 127 pounds, the unseeded assassin, Evan Sala from Mount Lebanon goes out and wins this championship. Beats LaShawn Hayes from West Mifflin in the finals. Kind of an interesting weight class here, just with the 1 seed going down early, Kosanovic to LeBrier. I mean, that's an interesting match. I mean, you look at that. We look at that box score there, guys. I mean, that is pretty gnarly. You know what I mean? 12-14, just a lot of reversals, a lot of near falls. And that was all the way back in the round of 16. And obviously, LeBrier rode that wave all the way to a 4th place finish. So, Kosanovic, 2nd at Burgettstown, 7th at the Allegheny County tournament. A little bit of ups and downs for the young buck, but not the young buck. I guess he's a senior now, but he's going to be just fine. But again, the highlight of this weight is Evan Sala, a guy that out of Mount Lebanon has just been kind of slowly working his way up. He was in the finals at the Burgettstown tournament. I called that match. He's good, man. Just keep your eyes on him. I've been impressed. All right, 133. Mr. Kale Yannick goes out and wins this championship out of the 1-seeded position. Kale, a guy that, seems like he always wrestles pretty damn good here at the Allegheny County tournament. Goes out, beats Stediford in the finals. Stediford out of the 3-seed. Pretty impressive stuff. Beats up the 2 seed in the semis, Wagner out of Keystone Oaks, and makes the finals. But ultimately, this was Yannick's weight, and impressive route to the finals there. Tech fall, and almost a major decision over Stediford, a guy that most of us know that is pretty high level here in the WPIAL. Another weight that got blown up early. Gusek, the 1 seed, loses early to Kosher from Pine Richland. Then Pine Richland, Kosher from Pine Richland loses the Sipes, the 8 seed. So a little bit of a mix up there at the top side. But really, this was Levenis's weight out of South Fayette. Just impressive stuff, man. Out of the 2 seed, kind of works his way through the bracket there. Beats Crawford in the semis 5-1. I was there to watch that match. in control. I would say 90% of that match. Impressive stuff. And beats Washington from Gateway by major decision. Levenis is a guy I feel like, when we get to the individual side of things, he's going to be interesting. I think he's going to be right there in the mix to try to punch himself to the state tournament. Okay. 145. Now, this weight class was really interesting just because Ian Buccelli, very impressive. 5 seed. You can't argue with how good he looked. Tech fall in the quarters over Timko from Thomas Jefferson. He beats Jacone of Montour in the semis. And then he goes out in major decisions. Haynes from Fox Chapel in the finals. Maybe a lighter weight as far as, deepness. There's some good names in here. Dennison, Rigotti. But you got to give it to Buccelli coming out of the 5 seed. And it's interesting seeing some of these lower seeds here, make their way to the finals and win. Okay. Now, one of the higher seeds that made the way to the finals and won, Mr. Griffin Reed, a guy that, I've been high on for the last couple years. Impressive stuff in this tournament. Goes out and gets a fall in the quarters. Beats Derek Worstel 9-5 in the semis. Derek Worstel was pretty impressive in that match. Gave him a pretty good go, but ultimately just a little bit too much. And then Griff Reed ultimately beats Owen Campbell in the finals 7-2. I tell you what, man, love me some Griff Reed. He's very good on his feet. Can get to a lot of different positions. Score a bunch of different ways. I just like that when you can score a bunch of different ways and you're decent on top. It's a good combination. Now, Owen Campbell, a guy that, he's been impressive this year. Was in the finals at the Southmoreland tournament, and Plum has had some guys this year, as we're going to talk about here in a little bit, as they always do. Plum is one of the sneakier programs in the WPIAL. I always say that. And Rook Smith goes out and defaults here to a 6th place finish. Hope that he's all good. But yeah, 152 pounds. Interesting weight class. Moving on up, 160 pounds. I fully expected another collision course of Matt Dana and Cole Gibbons. Matt Dana and Cole Gibbons, I believe, have wrestled 2 or 3 times this year. And Gibbons has been on the winning side, I believe, each time. Again, I talked about Gibbons whenever I called the Burgettstown match. My man has been so impressive. He's so good in, his stance, good in all, like, when he's on his feet, it's very hard to take him down. Very good stance. And he runs and cuts the corner really well and gets to the angles really well. He can score a lot of points doing that. So, impressive stuff. Matt Dana, of course, a guy that I've been high on since he's been a freshman. I think he's going to be just fine for Quaker Valley, especially when we get to, the individual side of things. As we get deeper into the season, I fully expect him to make a decent run at the state tournament. All right, moving on up. 172 pounds. This is probably the talk of the tournament for me. LeBrier has been up at 189, I believe, most of the year. Last year, he's never really found his true weight. I was able to talk to former TJ head coach on the way out. So that was, interesting to kind of pick his brain and kind of talk to him about how he feels about LeBrier and, Shep Turk. I saw him. Damn, dude, is Shep Turk a big old son of a gun? I swear, guys, if you were able to catch him, obviously the weight program there has really, really done well for him at the Pitt, for the Pitt football team. He's just a monster. And, I fully expect him to keep representing the WPIAL well for the Panthers. But again, I was able to talk to Coach Laddick there, and he was just telling me, LeBrier's never really been at his true weight. There's just, you guys think about it. Bodie Marlowe's been around pretty damn good. There's just been, Maddox Shaw has been around pretty damn good. There's just been monsters in that weight or in that lineup that has kind of bumped LeBrier around. He finally settles into his natural weight, and we see what happens here, man. Just impressive stuff. I was there for the semis, and I circled that Morvay LeBrier semi, and LeBrier was just all over it, man. Impressive stuff, and more of the same in the finals. So got to give LeBrier some credit there, and immediately kind of put him on your list as someone that, moving in a different weight class and is going to cause problems. All right, 189. We got Nez Green going out and winning this championship. And again, I've called Musabek's final over at Burgettstown. I need to learn his last name, but my man is a problem. Of course, we know all about Nez Green. As much as I need to talk about Nez Green, I don't need to talk about the Nez Green. He is really damn good. I fully expect Nez Green to make a good run at states this year and have a good chance to come home with a state medal. But my man Musabek from Char Valley is problems. He's good on the upper body. He's kind of like a judo guy, and he's pretty good on top. So just a guy that we need to circle. We need to recognize there at Char Valley. And of course, you move back to 172. I didn't touch on him, but Michael Lawrence, a guy that's a 100 match winner, it was another part of that 172 weight class. I'm sure him and Musabek are battling day in and day out in that Char Valley rim. All right, 215 pounds. Getting to the bigger boys. Razapur from Moon goes out and wins the championship again. Moon, pretty good showing here. Second place to North Allegheny. Cameron Healy from North Hills takes second. Hank Miller from North Allegheny takes third. And Joey Geller from Fox Chapel takes fourth. Impressive stuff here. Just looking down this list. Razapur from Moon. 215's really deep. I would say that the guys that are in this class are kind of on the outside looking in, trying to find their way into some. Just the high level of the guys at 215 they're good. They're really good, and a lot of them are in West Washington County and Westmoreland County. But nonetheless, Razapur, very good championship there for Moon. Okay, now. One of the guys that I fully expect to be right there is one of the leaders of the pack, Braden McConaughey of North Allegheny. The heavyweight has just been on a tear this year. Not lost many matches. I believe I'd have to go back and check the rankings. You guys know I'm not big a rankings guy. One of the best guys in the state, period. Top 5 easily at heavyweight. Beats Frank Azalius from Plum. Alexander Zavelos from Upper St. Clair takes third. That's a great showing for Zavelos to come out and take third out of the 7th seed position. Beats Havadale. Havadale from Montour in the quarterfinals. Just a good weight class. And I fully expect, man, these top 3 guys to, especially the top 2. And I think Zavelos has a chance to make some noise as well. But I fully expect these guys to, make some noise. Also, you see another Upper St. Clair guy. So 2 guys placing there for the Upper St. Clair Panthers. Pretty cool stuff. All right. And as we're getting ready to bring Paul Schofield on here in a little bit, let's talk some more about our sponsors. D1 Wrestling Club down there in Jefferson Hills, Pennsylvania. Of course, ran by the Snapper, Mr. James Fleming. One of my favorite dudes in the wrestling game, in the Whip Your Wrestling game. I love talking to him. Love just trying to figure out the way he, understands wrestling is just kind of different. And I always like that kind of stuff. I always like to get different perspectives. It's very cool. So if you're down there deep in the Jefferson Hills, down there 51, go check out D1 Wrestling Club. And then more into the Washington County side, on my side of the city. One of my favorite clubs in the area, a club that, very near and dear to my heart, that is Quest School of Wrestling, ran by Mr. Jim Akerley. Of course, he has, a bunch of different guys that come in and help him, from Connor Schramm to three-time All-American Peyton Hall. Just, a great program out there in 84, Pennsylvania. Awesome gym, really nice setup there. So if you guys are in the area, and of course, some of the guys all you have to do is walk in that gym on a Sunday and look at some of the guys that are in there working out. Just some of the top guys in the States, Slobodas and Hartmans, and, Willis Shows have wrestled there. Ty Waters has wrestled there. Dylan Evans has wrestled there. I mean, Peyton Hall, you name it. I can go on and on and on. Just one of the best clubs in the game. And that is Quest School of Wrestling. All right, guys. What do you think? Let's dive into some predictions. Let's bring them on. Mr. Ducky, Paul Schofield. How are you, sir?
How you doing?
Oh, always good to see you, my friend. I know when I see you, it is that time of year. So, first things first, man, how you surviving the Snowmageddon?
Good, because I have a 20-year-old stepson that can do all the showing.
That's a cheat code, right? There you go. I love that. So let's just get right into it, my friend. I bring you on every year to give you your predictions. It's no secret. We've talked to you about, how many years you've been in the game. And let me just ask you this before we get your predictions. The last, 3 or 4 or 5 years, we've kind of had it's been whoever can get there and win. We don't really know. I feel like for 10 years before that, a decade, we knew kind of who was going to win before the tournament even started. What's your perspective on that?
I agree. This year, I think it's a lot different, especially in AAA. There's a lot of balance, and then all of a sudden, a couple injuries have popped up that could hurt some teams. So AAA, I think, is kind of wide open, and a lot will depend on matchups. Double A, not as bad. I think we know who the final at least 4 will be, and whoever comes up. Derry is one team that I have had number 1 all season. They wrestled the counties and finished 3rd, but they had 3 starters out of the lineup. They're all going to be back. So will that make a big difference? One disappointing thing was Pitzer, who decided not to wrestle this year. If he would have been in the lineup, I think they could have cracked the top 4 in the state, because that's how good I think they are.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, losing Pitzer is definitely a deterrent for them, no doubt about it. A guy that, what was he when he wrestled top 5 in the state? I know he got the medal, right?
Yep,
for sure.
Yeah, and that's very good. And it's of course, football is his sport, so
understandable. But they do have a decent heavyweight that they did find. He can go. He's not bad.
He's okay.
Yeah. So let's just get right into it. Let me pull up the bracket here on the screen. We'll start with Double A.
Okay.
And we'll move on from there. Let's just go let's start off with each quarter, and then we'll work our way down. So, Knock in Southmoreland, my friend. Who do you have?
Southmoreland.
Okay. And let's do Burrell versus Southmoreland, my friend.
Burrell.
Okay. And then the next little section down there, Quaker Valley Best Center.
That's a toss-up. I think Best Center be in a close one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be close. Quaker Valley has not had the teams that they've had in the past where they've pushed, the freedoms and the boroughs of that nature. yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'll give my predictions whenever I get done with you. But let's move on. Let's finish that, and we'll crown a little
Burrow.
semifinalist, Burrow there. So Burrow out to the semis, and I think that's kind of where a lot of fans agree with you there. It seems kind of like a 2-horse race, but let's see. Moving on down, Jefferson Morgan versus Avella. Avella, a team that getting newly back into the WPIAL program after being in and out the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'll go to JM though. JM didn't really perform well at Sharon this past weekend. I don't know if they held kids out or not. So
yeah, and they do have the potential to put some really good kids on their sheet there, and obviously the Palcos of the world and stuff. So yeah, I agree there. I like Jefferson Morgan as well. Okay, let's move on to the next little piggy tail there. Avonworth versus Freedom. Avonworth, a team that is sneaky.
Toss up here. I'll go with Freedom. For some reason, I don't know why.
Hey, listen, I'm a Freedom boy. I love me some Freedom. I think Avonworth's had a really good year. I mean, listen, that is a very good matchup. Okay, so let's move on there. So Laurel versus Freedom then.
Laurel.
And then Laurel versus Jeff Morgan.
That's gonna be close, but I think Laurel's will beat them.
Yeah. So on the top side, we got Laurel and Burrell. Moving on to the bottom side, Bentworth versus Keystone Oaks.
I'm going to go Bentworth. Keystone Oaks is making a comeback, but I'm going to go with Bentworth.
McGuffey versus Bentworth.
McGuffey.
Shar Houston versus Burgettstown.
Burgettstown.
Okay. McGuffey versus Burgettstown.
McGuffey.
3. All right. Elizabeth Forward, Greensburg, Salem.
Elizabeth Ford.
Highlands, Central Valley.
Highlands is so crazy. They're on the crust of being a decent program, and they get kids out. I'm just going to like Central Valley.
Central Valley, Derry.
Derry.
Okay, so Derry, Elizabeth Forward.
Derry.
Okay, so pretty much standard across the board to get to the semifinals. All right, so let's talk about this. On the top side, Burrell versus Laurel. You have on the top side.
Burrell's is good, really good.
I mean, yeah, they beat Kiski this year, so no doubt.
Well, they lost.
Oh yeah, they did.
They lost to Kiski by 3. They beat
did.
Chestnut Ridge up at Brookville, but then lost to Reynolds at Brookville.
McGuffey versus Derry.
Derry again. Derry beat them up last year, and I think McGuffey's going to be a really good team, but I don't think they can match up with Burrell or Derry.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just just a little bit too much. But McGuffey, like any other year, they would be like the 2 teams.
Yeah, they'd
like
be
a
the
Burrell.
top dog.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So you got Burrell and Derry. The matchup that everyone's been talking about. You have just said that you've had Derry all year. The committee said, we think Burrell is the number 1 seed. What say you, Mr. Paul Schofield?
I still go with Derry. Derry performed, they're going to get Brown back next week. He might not for the quarterfinals. He might hold him back. But, they're solid. They got 4 or 5 freshmen that are performing well for them. They went to the Ultimate Duels this weekend, finished second to Reynolds, and they were the only team that had 3 champions, and that was Keysecker at 7, Bolger at 14, and Mason Horwath at 72. And I'm sure Brady Brown would have scored a lot of points for him if he would have wrestled. And then they got they had 8 place winners at the Ultimate Duels. I like their team. The only thing that scares you a little bit is about the youth wrestling in big matches, and I think they'll do it. And hate to say it, they're gonna do it for the next couple of years because they're just loaded coming up. They got more kids coming up, and they're all sophomores and freshmen right now, other than Brown and Horwath.
And that is where we will take a short break here. I got to talk to you guys about Manor Valley Golf Club over there in Export, PA. One of my favorite tracks to go to when I'm on that side of the city. Of course, Vinny D and family own that place. Awesome track. Again, if you catch their, summertime, sometimes you can catch a special where they have the lights are on for some 9-hole action. A couple bars, just an awesome place to go and hang out there on that side of the city, tucked there in the hills of Greensburg. Export PA, I guess. So that was like more like Franklin Regional, Penn Trafford, I guess would be. But again, Paul, I know you like the golf. Manor Valley, not a bad place to hang out, right, my friend?
No, they got really difficult greens. That's what makes that place really tough. So that's the place I got my hole in one then.
Oh, I didn't know you got an ace, my friend. That's awesome.
Number 12.
Oh, all right.
So,
Ducky. I like
one
that.
thing
That's
about Double A is Burrow went out. I talked about Gary going up to the Ultimate Duels and doing well. Gary went to Bedford and won the Bedford tournament over the weekend. So Burrow. And then McGuffey did well at the Fred Bell tournament up in Grove City. So those are really, really good Double A programs.
Yeah, and I was talking to a couple of people. I think there's a good chance that, we fully expect that it to be the two top teams. But I think McGuffey has a good chance to find their way to Johnstown and make the state tournament as well. And I know in years past they go up against, other districts and they kind of get slaughtered. Not McGuffey in particular, but the WPIAL, the third team from the WPIAL kind of struggles. But I think McGuffey's got a real shot.
Did you see the brackets though for the state tournament this year?
You're like how they're pre-drawn already or whatever. I have not looked at
pre-drawn, and they're going to start on the Tuesday, and Double A gets 4 teams, and Triple A gets 3. But like the Triple A third place team has to go to District 3 and beat their champion to go to Johnstown.
Interesting.
WPIAL second place team, you got to go to Chestnut Ridge probably and wrestle. The third place team, and this is I don't have the sheet in front of me.
Right.
I'm bad, but they got to go out to at least District 6 champion, which is Bishop McCourt. And then the fourth place team, that might be the fourth place team.
Right.
And
that's all just because there's just limited. They used to have bigger brackets back in the day at the state tournament, right?
Well, the most Double A teams in the state is District 7. And I talked to Frank. Frank's trying hard to get District 7 to have their own regional again. Maybe co-op with 5, but
yeah, no, that would make sense. I mean, if we have the most teams in the whole region, that makes a lot of sense for me. Double A.
And Double A is getting bigger next year. Waynesburg's going to be in Double A. Ringgold, Bell Vernon's coming down. So Double A might get a little stronger.
I like that. All right, let's move on to Triple A, my friend. And we can just start right off the bat. And we've talked about it a bunch already, but let's do the first pigtail there. Peters Township versus Shaler.
I'm going to go with Shaler.
Okay.
And
Franklin Regional versus Shaler.
Franklin.
Okay. Thomas Jefferson versus Moon.
That's going to be a really good match. Both teams are pretty good. I'm going to go Moon. But it's going to be, well, you know what? I'm going to go with TJ because TJ
switch up. Oh, baby.
TJ matched up Librera against Costa at the counties, and Librera whipped them. So if that matchup occurs, that favors TJ.
Yeah, no doubt. We
But
were just
Moon's not
talking
bad.
about the Briars.
Moon and Franklin met early in the year. Now Fennick wasn't wrestling for Franklin, but it was a close match until the end.
Who you got that in that one? Moon versus Franklin.
Franklin.
Okay. So first semifinalist is Franklin. All right, let's move down to the next quarter. Let's do the pigtail first. Baldwin versus Penn Trafford.
I'm going to go with PT.
Okay. Kiski versus North Hills.
I'm going to go with North Hills, but here's a caveat. Cooper Roskowski got hurt at the Bell tournament, left knee injury reported in the semifinals, and be interesting to see if he wrestles this week.
I did see that he didn't wrestle in the finals. I wasn't sure what I've heard some rumors, but I wasn't sure what it officially was. I hope he's able to get out there and wrestle. And like you said, if that's out, that's definitely a hole.
Like you said, the rumors heard it's a left knee injury.
Got you. Okay, so you got. Let's do the next one down. PT versus Connellsville.
Connellsville.
Okay. North Hills versus Connellsville.
I didn't say Kiski was going to lose.
Oh, I thought you said you picked North Hills.
No, caveat.
Okay.
Super
I got you.
Hurt.
I was going to say that's bold, my friend. That's very bold.
I'm still going to go with Connellsville. I'll go with Connellsville.
Okay, so you got Connellsville over Kiski. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes more sense. All right, moving on down. Bell Vernon
And speaking
Mars.
of Connellsville,
Yes.
they just beat University and Parkersburg, and the one win gave Bill Swink his 500th coaching win. I don't know if you talked about that. That's amazing. He started out down in Virginia, Colonial Forge, and then he came and he really helped the Connellsville program get better.
Oh,
So,
there's no doubt about that.
congratulations to him.
Yeah, that's an all-time achievement for sure. I'm
There's
not
not
sure
too
how
many
times we'll
coaches
see
that have 500 wins.
That's what I was just going to ask you there, Paul. You've been around the game. How many do you know of any other that have 500?
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's pretty
I
gnarly.
looked at the list. I didn't. They were all from different areas, different parts of the country.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just impressive stuff what he's done and continues to do. And it's kind of like timeless. And it seems like all the kids seem to love him and he puts the right people around him. So, yeah, big love to Coach Swink. All right, let's continue. Bell Vernon.
The thing about Connellsville, all year they wrestled without a 7-pounder. Well, now all of a sudden they got a 7-pounder making weight.
Very true.
So that just makes them a little bit better. And then Franks he didn't make weight to escape the rock, but he's been making weight at 14. So Connellsville's pretty strong on the bottom. Now they're not as strong from 72 up, so that could hurt them down the stretch.
No doubt. All right, Bell Vernon versus Mars in the next quarter down, or next pigtail down. I'm sorry.
I'll go. That's a toss-up. I'll go Bell Vernon.
All right. Greater Latrobe versus North Allegheny.
I'm going to go with North Allegheny in a close one.
Okay. Cannon Mac versus Bell Vernon.
Cannon Mac.
Okay,
Even though I understand they lost one of the Collins brothers in a Trinity match. So
yeah, I've heard that. I'm not sure if he's going to wrestle or not. I've heard some conflicting stuff. We'll see. Obviously, all these guys that get hurt, it's a fine line because you want to see them out there for their team, but they also got individuals to think about too.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see. But I agree that is like you said earlier, a caveat that you need to kind of put in here. So let's talk about this: Cannon Mac versus North Allegheny.
NA beat him early in the year, and Kiski beat Cannon Mac this year, and so did Norwin. So a lot of people were surprised that Cannon Mac got a third seed with 3 losses, but they have been wrestling pretty well lately. So I think they justified that. They beat NA. Well, yeah, I'm going to say they're going to beat NA in a close match, even though they might not have Collins.
Okay. All right, let's move on down. Armstrong versus Seneca Valley.
Seneca Valley seems to be on a rebound a little bit, so I'll go with them.
All right. Seneca Valley versus Norwin.
Oh, Norwin. I think Norwin's pretty good.
Yeah.
They just have to learn to win the big matches.
Trinity West Allegheny to meet Norwin in the quarter.
You know, that's a really good match. I'm going to go with Trinity, even though I heard Hoy got hurt up at the Bell, though I'm hearing he's going to be back for.
The Bell's taking people out. Damn.
So.
Okay. Let's see here. So then we got Trinity Norwin.
That might be the best quarterfinal going. Here's all about matchups. You know, Trinity did not match up well against Catamac, and everybody knew it. But Trinity matches up well against a lot of other teams. And Kyle Martin thinks that Trinity, you know, in his mind, is better than NA and better than Kiski. So he feels that they got, you know, they got a tougher draw. I'm gonna give Norwin the edge because I think, you know, they have some really good kids. But I think it's going to be a great match.
All right. So that kind of means you went chalk on both sides, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that because that tells us that the committee's kind of doing their thing, making sure that they are trying to get the best teams there. So that means
there's probably 7. Early in the year, I thought there were 8 teams that could make it to the Final Four. I think there's at least 7 now that pretty sure could be a Final Four matchup.
Yeah, no, it's definitely still deep. The bracket changes some things as far as who can potentially make it out, but it's still deep. So let's talk about the semifinals. You have Franklin Regional and Connellsville on the top side.
Franklin beat him last year, and Levy's a pretty good coach at maneuvering the roster. So it's going to be a close match. I'm going to go Franklin.
I like it. Okay, bottom side. Cannon Mac versus Norwin.
Well, Norwin beat him early in the year, so that's going to be another another great match. If Collins is not in the lineup, it makes it a little easier for Norwin. I'm going to go Cannon Mac in a close one.
I like it. All right. So, big upset there. Well, not even an upset. Like we talked about, these teams are so razor thin. Franklin Regional, Cannon Mac in the final. So you got. Well, hold on. Before you say that, let's talk about the third place match. So that would leave the third place match, Connellsville versus Norwin. So you got Norwin in that one. So you got Norwin taking third. So who you got in the finals?
No, I got Connellsville taking third.
Okay, so Norwin and Connellsville, you got Connellsville winning that one.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so you go over Norwin.
Finals in a close one, Franklin Regional. It's going to be razor thin.
And they go back to back in your eyes. I like it. Very good stuff.
And over in Double A, we forgot to do the third place match.
We did. I was just thinking about that.
McGuffey over Laurel.
We kind of talked about that a little bit, just kind of foresight. I mean, Laurel has been one of the best teams. Kind of a resurgence this year, a really good football team. But I agree, McGuffey's just a little bit too much. But all right, my friend, thank you for coming on and hanging out with me and giving me some insight on what you think is going to happen. This is going to be some great stuff this week.
I know. What else have you heard? Any other key injuries?
No, that was pretty much the Collins one. That was, the Roskowski one. I didn't know Lynn missed weight at Escape the Rock. I watched him at, I'm going to talk about it here in a minute, but I watched him at the Connellsville and Kiski match. He was impressive there. It is interesting to see the end of the year, and I don't know if it's injuries or it's like, hey, we got a big match in a week or 4 days. Let's be precautionary and see what happens. You know what I mean? So, we'll
Cannon Mac went up to and won without Collins up at Grove City
by a margin.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And that was dominated by a lot of the WPIAL teams up there.
Yeah, that's becoming a really good tournament because you get some of the top teams from that area up there, as well as some of the really good teams from the WPIAL.
I didn't see who won, but Batavio Horror or whatever his name is, and
215.
Mario Hutcherson were supposed to meet in the finals. Did you get a result?
Oh, Kendall Hoare and Hutcherson at 189. No, he wrestled. Mario Hutcherson wrestled Hoos from Southwestern in the finals.
Right, but they met. Where's Southwestern?
It was 16-4.
That's Powerade they met too.
Okay.
And who is it? Who's the Tavio?
Yeah, it's his last name is Hoose.
I see who's. He wrestled for St. Francis at the
Okay.
Powerade with
I got you.
Southwestern. He wrestled for how many teams?
Because that's wild. Yeah, I don't know how you move teams. I mean, listen, what are we saying? We just watched a dude wrestle for Bishop McCourt and then go out and pin a dude at Oklahoma State. So it is a different world, Mr. Schofield. Thank you for coming on and hanging out with me.
Wait a minute, so I didn't hear your predictions. What?
You have to sit and listen, my friend. I'm about to sit down and give them to everyone. So
I'll find out.
Tap into the stream there, and you'll sit there and listen to what I got.
All right.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Take care. See you later.
All right, guys. Just trying to sneak it out of me. I got to give a little bit of a soliloquy as I stop, as I go on here. All right, I'm not gonna bore with you guys with any more of the accidental stuff here. We're gonna get right into it. But first, we do have one more ad for you guys. I'm sorry.
Not game day without Pizza Bosa. Perfect for the family and the guys. Right next door to the PPG Paints Arena in downtown Pittsburgh. Dine in, pick up, and delivery available from 8 a.m. to midnight. Stop by 741 5th Avenue or call 412-575-7577.
And that was our good friends over there at Pizza Bosa. Appreciate you guys. Okay. So let's dive into the double A side of things. And I'm not going to bury the lead too much. Mr. Schofield there, he's aligned on a lot of the stuff that I like. But let's just start off. Knox Southmoreland, a match here that, pigtail. Two proud programs. I'm going to take Southmoreland in a close match. I think Knox has some guys that can knock off Southmoreland. If you told me Knox beat Southmoreland, I'm not going to be surprised. What I will be surprised, though, is if Burrell does not make it to the semi here. I got Burrell all the way out to the semi. But to get there, I have them beating Quaker Valley over Best Center in that top quarterfinal. Again, like we talked about with Paul, just a little bit too much. And ultimately, we'll talk about it in the semis. Like, one of my favorite things about Burrell is, even their guys that are quote unquote not their guys, not their best wrestlers, they still know how to wrestle, not get pinned, know their jobs, if you will. So yeah, I got Jeff Morgan in the next one down there over Avella. I will take Avonworth over Freedom in that little pigtail there. Obviously, you guys know I love me some Freedom, but I think Avonworth just a little bit too much there, and really good. I would say one of the best in both AA and AAA. One of the best pigtails we will see. But give me Avonworth there, and then Avonworth Laurel, I think is sneaky. I really do. I think Avonworth has a chance to beat Laurel, but I think Laurel is just too much. I think Laurel is going to win. Laurel goes out and wins the next match as well over Jefferson Morgan. So kind of chalky there on the top side. So I got Laurel and Burrell on the top side. Moving on down, Bentworth and KO. More of what Paul said there. KO is on the rise, but Bentworth a little bit too much with the Misha brothers there and some of their coaching and some of the guys that they have rolling around on their squad. I just think Bentworth gets it done. Now McGuffey ultimately is definitely too much for Bentworth. Just up and down their lineup, they got guys. That Burgettstown Shark Houston match is pretty interesting. Shark Houston does have some guys after being down the last couple years, but Burgettstown ultimately just with a full lineup or close to a full lineup, just a little bit too much. So give me Burgettstown there. And then in that quarterfinal, Burgettstown and McGuffey, I got McGuffey as well. You know, just a team that in any other year, they would be, you know, right there battling with Burrell, which Burrell's there every year. So they would be right there battling with Burrell for the right to, you know, win the WPIAL championship or even go to states. All right, moving on down. That next pigtail there, Highlands, Central Valley. Give me Central Valley there. I think Central Valley's got, you know, just a little bit too much. The Bonai brothers, they got some other guys in there. But ultimately they run into the roadblock that is Derry in the next match. Derry's going to win both of these matches, going to beat Central Valley and going to beat what I think is Elizabeth Forward in that other match there. And Derry goes out to the semifinal. So chalky, I get it. But best 4 teams. So top side, Burrell versus Laurel. Burrell's going to win that match. And Laurel's going to give them a match. Laurel's going to come in ready to go. There at Peters Township. I fully expect coming off a big win. Like I said, I think Avonwards going to give them a go, but I think they're going to win maybe 10, 15 points, something around there. I think they're going to be ready to go, but I don't think they're going to be ready to beat Burrell. Burrell's going to win that one. And then you look at the bottom side of the bracket, McGuffey and Derry. Derry's, you know, I think Derry's the clear better team there. Not to say that McGuffey's not a great team, but just give me Derry there. So, like what we talked about, we have that matchup in the finals, Burrell versus Derry. On the third place side of things, I got McGuffey over Laurel, and I went back and forth on this one really, really hard because I really like Laurel. Laurel's got heavyweights, they got lightweights, they got some middleweights in there. They're sneaky, they really are. But I just think just a little bit too much for McGuffey. McGuffey's, you know, they're on their up period right now with the last couple of years with the Mains and, you know, the Wolves and the things of that nature. I just think that the McGuffey's a little bit too much this year. But in the final, I know that this is the one that everyone's been talking about, and I said all year, I said if Derry doesn't find a way to pull out Pitzer, to find a way to get him on the mound, I'm picking Burrell. But I changed my mind. I'm picking Derry. Derry's just a little bit too much, man, especially with getting Brady Brown back, one of the best guys not only in the WPIAL state but in the country. They're young bucks at 107, 114. They got nice guys in the middle there. I just think it's a little bit too much. Now, has Burrell made me wear egg on my face multiple times? Yes. Countless times they've made me wear egg. You know, what do they always say? Death taxes and Burrell winning the WPIAL championship. So if you tell me Burrell beats Derry, I'm not going to be surprised. But I do think, you know, last year was kind of like the end of the run, and Derry's going to take over and start running now. I think at least 2, 3, 4 years. We'll see with what they got coming up through the junior high. Their junior high team's really good too. Coach Boring and crew over there. Just give me Derry, man. But like I said, Burrell will have something to say about it. Okay. Moving on up. AAA. Peters Township, Shaler. I'm going to take Peters Township in that one. I think I like that squad out there. You got, you know, McGarity and some of those guys. I think it's just a little bit too much for Shaler. Now, Franklin Regional, I think is going to beat Peters Township. The next one down, that Thomas Jefferson Moon match, like Paul was just talking about, one of the better matchups in the early rounds here. Ultimately, I'm taking Moon. I've been impressed with Moon all year. They got a complete team from 107 all the way up to heavyweight. They got a squad. So I'm going to take Moon there. Moving to the next match there, that quarterfinal, Franklin Regional and Moon, a match that we did see earlier in the year, like we talked about just a minute ago, but you know, Bo Fennick was not in that matchup. I don't see a way where Moon loses that matchup earlier in the year and then Franklin adds Bo Fennick where Franklin loses that matchup. So I'm taking Franklin over Moon. Moon's going to give him a go, but not enough. All right, next one down. So I got Franklin as the top semifinalist there on the top little quarter. Kiski, North Hills. Give me Kiski in that one. Just a little bit too much for North Hills there. North Hills, cool to see them go out and win their section championship. Baldwin PT, give me. I like Baldwin, man. I do, because I think Baldwin has some sneaky guys, but I think PT's just a little bit too much. Weighed in and weighed out all the way through the lineup. And Connellsville is going to beat PT in the next match, which sets up a rematch of the Kiski-Connellsville match, which I just called that match, I don't know, a week ago? What is today? Sunday, so like 10 days ago. I love me some Kiski, and I thought going into that match, Kaz will tell you, I thought Kiski had a really good chance to win that match. But after watching that match, I don't see a way where Kiski can flip that script and turn it the other way. I just don't. Very well could be wrong there. But ultimately, I think that Connellsville will beat Kiski, and that sets up that top side to be Connellsville and Franklin Regional. Now, moving on to the bottom half of the bracket, Bell Vernon and Mars. Give me Bell Vernon there. And Armstrong and Seneca Valley. I'm going to take Armstrong in that match. Now, Cannon Mac versus Bell Vernon. Bell Vernon, a team that's pretty good, but I just don't think they have a complete enough lineup, just not enough kids. Give me Cannon Mac there. Latrobe North Allegheny is interesting to me. Latrobe has some kids, but ultimately just not enough, I don't think, to get past North Allegheny. North Allegheny is going to beat them. I think it's going to be a close match, probably like a 40-25 or something, 15 point spread, I'd say. Now, moving on to this quarter, this is the one I went back and forth on. And they beat them earlier in the year, North Allegheny, that is, beating Cannon Mac. And like we said, Collins getting hurt in the Trinity match. I think they find a way to get Collins on that mat for this particular. I don't know if he wrestles in the first match, but I think they know that, if they put him out there, he's at least not going to get pinned. I doubt he gives up a major. So I think they put him out there, and he finds a way to do what he can for the team, and they ultimately get past North Allegheny in a razor. I'm talking razor close, like 33-30 type match. It's going to be really close, and it's going to come down to bonus points. And I think that's ultimately what's going to do North Allegheny in, is that they can't get the bonus points that Cannon Mac can. And I just think it's going to be too much. But if you told me I was wrong, not going to be surprised. Moving on down. I had Armstrong in that pigtail. So I'm going to take Norwin over Armstrong. Armstrong, one of the best pigtail teams across the board, man. Their upper weights are really good. I like Armstrong, well-coached team. But Norwin, just too deep, too much. Not enough for Armstrong. Give me Norwin in that matchup. This next one, Trinity West Allegheny. Of course, two teams that are very near and dear to my heart. I think this is going to be a very close matchup. Losing Hoy for Trinity really is a big caveat. I think that West Allegheny very well could get this matchup. And they were, I think if they wrestled Moon 10 times, they'd probably beat them 4 of the 6. Moon, a really good team. But ultimately, give me Trinity here. Just a little bit too much for West Allegheny. I think that West A probably gives up some bonus points that Trinity will get in a probably like a 36-29 or 28 match. Just a little bit too much there for West A. Now, this Trinity Norwin match, like Paul said, it's sneaky. It's very sneaky. Just looking up and down the lineup, not bracket. Trinity's got some bigger guys that could be problems for Norwin, which is like, that's where they got to get their points if they're going to create this upset. Ultimately, I'm going chalk, man. I'm going Norwin. I really am. I think Norwin, Coach or Paul was over there talking about, Coach Kyle Martin saying, how kind of Trinity's got a bad spot in the bracket there. And that may be so. But ultimately, I think Norwin is one of the best teams, not only in the WPIAL, but in the state. They're deep. They're good. They're well coached. I think they're going to get past Trinity, but I agree with Paul. Both these quarterfinals on this bottom side are they're awesome. Awesome stuff. So that leaves the semifinalist Chalky, which is, hey, it's what it is, man. Those guys are good at picking the bracket. I think they know what they're doing. The committee's solid. So Franklin Regional, Connellsville. I'll tell you what, guys, this Connellsville team, I wouldn't say I was out on them, but I had them kind of where like a Trinity or a Moon was after the first couple weeks of the season, and slowly but surely they've been getting better and getting better and getting better and getting better. They're awesome. But sorry, too much. Franklin Regional is going to win. Franklin Regional going to beat Connellsville. I think Franklin Regional has too much through the middle of that lineup, and I know that's where Connellsville's strength is. But that 107 match is going to be interesting. Fennec wrestling the Connellsville 107 that they just put out, which I watched last week as well. I truly think that is a 60-40 match. I think 60% of the time Franklin's going to win, and Connellsville, I think there's a really good chance Connellsville finds a path. And like we talked about it, Coach Swink doesn't get the 500 victories without knowing what he's doing. My man, if he gets a little path, little edge, he's going to find it, and he's going to try to do what he can to put his team in the finals there. Now, Cannon Mac Norwin, I called that match. Well, we didn't call it. I tried to call it. We had some technical issues. That was the first match of the year. Man, that was a freaking dogfight. It was really, really close, and bonus points ultimately decided that. If you guys wanted to go back and watch that matchup, it is on my YouTube channel. No audio. It's one of the first things I did go and do of the year. But, man, I went back and watched it. There is a definite path of victory for Cannon Mac, 100%. Now, that was with a fully healthy Collins at 189. Is he fully healthy? Obviously not. He didn't wrestle this weekend at Fred Bell. Now, is that keeping out for precautionary? We'll see. As you guys know, there's so much stuff that ebbs and flows in this sport, especially in high school wrestling. That damn flip, it means a lot. That could be 10 points sometimes in certain matchups. But give me Norwin over Cannon Mac. And that one I truly think is a 50-50 matchup. I'm not sure who's going to win, but I think that I'll tell you what not even what I think. I want to see another freaking Norwin versus Franklin regional match. I want the rematch. That match was so freaking good the other night. It was so razor close that if I see that matchup, I'm going to be locked in. I have no idea who's going to win. None. So that's what I want. I want the Franklin regional Norwin match. And before I announce who I got, that leaves the third place match, Cannon Mac versus Connellsville. I can't get that match that I watched on PA Power Wrestling out of my head. And I've talked up Connellsville a bunch here. Now, if you told me Connellsville went out and won this damn thing, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I don't think Connellsville is going to beat Cannon Mac for third and fourth. I watched that match early in the year, just too much. They don't match up well with Cannon Mac. So, yeah, I got Cannon Mac third, Connellsville fourth. Now, the finals. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I have no idea what's going to happen here. I'll be honest with you. Ultimately, I'm going to take Franklin Regional. I'm going to take the champs. Give me the champs back to back. A team that's been there, done that. And I think that there more things could have went right for them watching that match than Norwin could have potentially went right and flipped the other way. So that's the solace I'm taking. But damn, guys, we don't know. We don't know. I truly think that there's a top four. I think the top four seeds are a little bit of a class of their own. And then there's 3 to 4 teams that are right below them, that any 4 of those teams, if they made a run and had a couple upsets, I wouldn't be surprised. So, again, just to kind of go back over, I got the champs repeating, Franklin Regional over Norwin in the finals. And then I got Kennemac over Connellsville for 3rd and 4th. I'll tell you guys, one of the most fun years I've had covering wrestling in a long time, the team side of things. Every team's really good and they're all really even. But, as they say, you're the champs until you're the champs no more. So give me the champs until they're beaten. So that's what I'm rolling with, the Franklin Regional Panthers. And that is it, guys. That's all the time I have for you guys. Thank you for coming on, hanging out with me. We went for about an hour and a half there, talked about some Allegheny County tournament. We talked a bunch about the Fred Bell tournament. I didn't get into it too deeply. Maybe I will next time I sit down with you guys as we dive into the individual side of things here in a couple weeks. But I'm sure we'll have Matt Taylor on here next week to break down the state brackets. He's my guy from the middle of the state, so always good to talk to him. But again, stay warm out there, guys. I know it's snowmageddon outside. Be safe. Take extra time if you're going somewhere. And, Wednesday is going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys out there. And until next time, later.